very confident on the brakes, is the former British Touring Car Champion. But is he going to be able to chase down race leader Jeff Smith? Very wide goes Jordan through Peel Corner. Coming down the hill, Ian, I would say that's under a second now. To the naked eye, I think he is closing on the race leader and bringing Aaron Smith with him.
Yeah, looks like it. So could we have a three-way fight? And Rupert Death, of course, still making progress as well. He was 0.6 of a second faster than Aaron Smith, for example, on the previous lap. He has narrowed that gap. Over the line goes Death now in the background, and that time through, he didn't really take any time out of the cars in front of him, but the gap is about 3.8 seconds from third to fourth, so he might not quite be able to bridge that gap before the end of the race. He's certainly got away from Kane Aston, but it might be too much of a tall order for him to get involved in this podium scrap for the final third of the race, because that's what we're heading towards now. And they're heading out towards Church Corner and along the back straight once again, and Jeff Smith looks a bit bigger again now as they're doing that. Heading off up towards Rocket. I'll tell you, it's Kane Aston 5th, James Cuthbert's the 6th, Ryan Taylor moving up 7th, and Jodie Lee's 8th. Joe Polly running in 18th position. Of course, she did manage to make the start of the race from the pit lane, I think. But here are the two leaders, Jordan Smith, in 2nd and 3rd, I should say, behind Jeff Smith. Turning their way through the right-hander now at Peel Corner. I still think this race could go any one of three ways, really, and especially with the unknown of the conditions possibly changing. Although looking at it, I reckon there's a better chance now that it might stay fair, at least for the remaining 6.5 minutes.
It is still drizzling, I think, but not heavy rain. No, I agree with that. There is a slightly less wet line starting to develop on the track as well. Andrew Jordan then still only 7/10 behind the race leader. It's amazing the power of the slipstream in these cars. I know that everyone knows that these cars slipstream well, but Andrew Jordan was the best part of a full second back from Jeff Smith going onto the back straight a lap ago and still managed to gain maybe half a second up that back straight. Now he's noticeably closer this time, so how much closer will he be by the time they get to the top of the hill? He takes about the same sort of line through Church Corner as Jeff Smith does. I would say that's maybe about 0.6 of a second or so as they go onto the back straight, but he will close and close and close in that slipstream, heading towards the braking zone at Rocket. He won't be close enough to attack this time, I don't think, Andrew, but we know he's good on the brakes. The gap again shrinks as they head for the apex, and Andrew Jordan now definitely starting to turn the screws and apply a bit more pressure to his good friend Jeff Smith. But out on track, they are fierce rivals. They'll both want the race win, and it could be a real showdown this over the last 5 minutes between them.
So we've got, as Andy says, 5 minutes or so to go here. The top three separated by just over a second as things stand. Oh, and Josh Evans, the Libra class leader, he's had a moment there, and he's recovering from that. He was 5 seconds in the lead, but has he lost the lead now? Yes, he has, because the 595 car has gone through of Julian Proctor, so he's taken the lead. Hugh Turner's gone through to second. Down to third then has gone Josh Evans with that, I think, little spin that he had at the banking.
Oh dear, I was just looking at the timing screen to see how far ahead he was. He was 5.2 seconds clear of Proctor, had it in the bag, but again, goes to show that in these conditions you can take nothing for granted, and Evans has it all to do again now. Surely won't be able to challenge for the win now in the remaining 4.5 minutes or so, but may just be able to get back into second position at least. So he heads out of Rocket and up towards Peel Corner. You're not missing anything at the front of the field, by the way. Andrew Jordan, although he seems to close in at certain parts of the circuit, Ian, just can't quite get there when it counts, can he? And by the time they get round to the line, the last 3 or 4 laps, that gap has been around 3/4 of a second. So overall, he's not really gaining.
No, he's not. And that's probably disappointing for him. Perhaps his car just not quite set up right for these conditions. It's so difficult in changeable conditions to get your car set up exactly spot on. There's Julian Proctor leading in the Libra class by a reasonably comfortable margin now, 3.9 seconds over Hugh Turner in second place. Josh Evans, having dropped those 2 places, is another 3.9 seconds behind in third in that class. Now, they're the leaders, and it does look to have closed in again a little bit between Jeff Smith and Andrew Jordan towards the end of the lap, and I suspect it's going to be about 3/4 of a second again as they go across the line this time. Just a little bit under, 0.676 seconds between them. They've got a bit more of a gap now, about 1.5 seconds back to Aaron Smith, so he's not really part of this equation, and Rupert Death hasn't made much more headway to the first 3 either, so looks like he's going to be probably secure in 4th But if we are going to see a change, it's probably going to be for the lead here. But Andrew Jordan just doesn't seem to be able to build a sustained attack as Jeff Smith makes a big mistake. He's very sideways through Church Corner. It didn't look as if Andrew Jordan was particularly able to capitalise on that, though.
They gained a couple of lengths, maybe, which means he's a bit closer in the slipstream than he normally would have been. But yeah, Jeff Smith, again, just stamped on the accelerator, drew the front of the car back around and managed to hang on to that generally, but that shows how hard he's having to push. He's wide again into Rocket in, so Andrew Jordan closing back in. The corner that Andrew is struggling at is the banking, isn't it? The last 2 or 3 laps, that's where he's lost time. He's been within 6 or 7 tenths at the line and then dropped back again through that second corner. Was that
Peter Hills they were lapping?
Wasn't it? Yeah.
So